My name is Vinod Sharma. Long back I read this, that you can never own a horse. A horse may sometimes decide to own you. So the horses came to this land first. It's primarily a stable for them and their home. And then we decided to take a small part of that land and build something for ourselves. We chose to name the house, this area, Anahat. And Anahat means from the heart.
This particular plot of land we had for a long time, but our horses used to stay here, and we did have a small makeshift kind of a house also. None of us imagined that it would become so big and beautiful. We really kept thinking, okay, a small cottage, a small cottage. That was how it started.
When we started looking at this renovation, so we convinced the client, okay, if we do this, if we try to leave the existing building as it is and build something on top, we will be saving around somewhere 30 to 40 lakhs. Use that money, that 40 lakhs, for something that is more experimental and innovative. We came up with this idea of taking the building as if it is coming from the ground and climbing on top of this existing building that's already there.
If someone to ask me what it looks like, without showing them a picture, it's impossible to describe it. The shape, the way it's formed, and the way it sort of evolved.
So what we did is that, if you look at it, the form looks as if the pool that's actually going underneath forms a spline and climbs on top of the existing building and becomes one. So we removed the truss and the existing structure of the sloping roof and retained the entire steel and the framework for the lower building as it is. And we have this beautiful 56 beams that are actually coming in a sequence. All of them are totally varying in size with different radii and different curvatures. It's easy to actually make these things using CNC machines and fabrication tools that are available. But in this particular project, actually, we also wanted to keep the cost down and also use the local fabricators. We chose to do it on ground with the fabricators. So if you look at these members, these are actually half cuts on a pipe, the steel pipe, and bent to the curvature that we wanted, just like the way you make paper models. If you look at the palette, what we used for the organic structure that you see around, we used thin like zinc, which is only 0.8 millimeters in thickness, that actually forms the whole shell.
The most innovative part of the roof itself, and I think the beauty is every contractor who came in also feels that this is their dream project.
At this moment, there is nobody who can come and not look at the sculpture and wonder. It's just so magnificent. But I think he did it almost single-handedly, like each tile, with this, what he does with some computer open, and then he keeps doing it. That way, yeah, he's just unbelievable. He's very focused.
When we demolished the previous roof, we recovered roughly around 7,000 tiles, the Mangalore tiles that are there. And something that really interesting happened is the way these guys actually at the site, the labor, they stacked these tiles in the farm where they stored it. Then first, the idea came up with it, what if we actually create a feature wall with that, with those tiles? And then later we took it to the next level, thinking, okay, what if this actually becomes a piece of art as a sculpture in the living room, but something that is very organic and parametric.
Actually, I always told Munish that one of the things which is very much part of my aesthetic is that I like to be very natural. I hate those false ceilings and those high gloss paints.
We both like it very simple, don't want to complicate things. Use a lot of earth elements, keep the colors very muted.
When you look at the whole built and the inside, we used exposed brickwork, we used, like I said, terrazzo, lime plaster, polished concrete. When we talk about Indian architecture, I don't think of a building. I don't think of a monument. I think of a traditional house that I lived or grown up. That is what really means to me, the nostalgia, the courtyard houses, and then the materials that you grew up in, whether it is this IPS, the flooring, or you used to say that, okay, in our houses in the past, we used to have stuff like this. we used to have this rough textured and the things that you don't see. But then how do you connect it with context and local architecture? How do you bring it and how do you tie these things, two things together? One, you're talking about futuristic forms and technology, but at the same time, there is so much of wealth and information coming from the past about Indian materials, Indian context, and Indian way of actually creating something.
So I really think this is a project from the heart for a lot of people. I think happiness only comes when you push the envelope a little towards the edge of perfection. The other thing that happiness, I think, means to all of us is a good memory from our past.